Hello and welcome into Talking Bengals, the world's realest Bengals podcast, because we keep it real, but keeping it real often goes wrong. And that's what's going on for the Bengals right now. We do have our awesome guest this week. We got Michael Bergs from the Who Day All Day podcast. Mike, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, fellas?
Been better as far as sports go.
Sure.
Hard week to be a Cincinnati sports fan.
Very true. I saw that wonderful meme of Mr. Redleg handing the Bengal Tiger a beer. I mean, I think that's where we're all at tonight.
Yeah, I mean, at least we're going to give the Reds a quick shout out. They made the playoffs. They gave us a little bit of a momentary reprieve, and they did the best that they really could against a really high-powered Dodgers team. So, hey, good season, Reds. And now we have to get back to being miserable for what could be the remainder of the season, because we've all been longtime fans. This is not, oh gosh, bad couple of weeks and we're giving up on the team. We've all seen this before, and that's what scares us. This looks a lot like the mid to late 90s to early 2000s to 2008 when Ryan Fitzpatrick was the quarterback. It looks so much like those, it's sickening. So, Mike, I'll give you the first opportunity to bring up what topic you want to talk about.
No, I appreciate it. It's good to see both your happy faces under wonderful times. I have a feeling if we would have had this call maybe a month ago, probably had a lot different takes on how we thought the season would be going, and looking forward to this game Sunday really is a great measuring stick against a physical team. But instead, we're looking into this saying there's no way we're going to cover the 10.5 points that we're an underdog at home. But I think the message is clear, and we can get into it. Everybody has said it to exhaustion. But clearly Burrow's the greatest quarterback that's ever played in the NFL. The fact that he could mask so much of what's going on with this team. I listened to Jamar Chase today, and I love his leadership, and I know he's trying. But even though he wants to do those things, Joe could at least control the offense where Zach was short, and now we're seeing his game plan be exposed. And so we got some serious questions. Some of mine, and we can talk about this, but what was his interview to the Brown family? I had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay. I would love to have heard his sales pitch of how he got this job. Because if you pull Joe Burrow out, look at the rest of our – how many other NFL teams have 3 players in the top 77?
I think
We can't, and we look completely like Casey, like you were saying, we look completely inept, and we look like we're back in the 90s. So I'm sure we're going to break this down a lot, but I think there's a lot of this of wow, Joe really masked a ton, but you can't just throw away 75% remaining of the season. So appreciate you having me on to vent and to have a therapy session with the both of you.
Yeah, that's definitely what this is. And I mean, what makes this the most devastating right now, at least to me, is the fact that the AFC North sucks. There's not an easier way to put it. The Ravens have been exposed for not being nearly as good as they are supposed to be. Aaron Rodgers is not going to hold up over the course of the year. I mean, the Steelers, they may get a winning record, they may sneak into the playoffs, but they're not legitimate contenders. You have to be average, and you could win this division right now. And we're just so pathetic. I mean, this reminds me, I was talking to my dad the other day. Dick LeBeau. Oh, it's terrible to say that name as a head coach. Great defensive coordinator for the Bengals and for the Scumbags. But, it's terrible to say, but his year as the head coach was abysmal. And that's what this is reminding me of. You're not even close. You don't look like you have any team chemistry. And the receivers that we have right now, you have 2, like you said, great receivers in the top 100, guys that can make a difference. And you can't get them the ball, or you're just throwing go balls, which is not a high percentage play. It doesn't make any sense. Your blocking is pathetic. Your quarterback looks panicked. And your play calling, I bet you guys have already seen it, though. The fact that Minnesota knew what plays you were running based off of motions. If your offense is that transparent, then we're in a lot of trouble. And, I mean, I don't want to see it like this again. But, I mean, when you think about those teams in the 90s, other than Pickens and Scott, you really didn't have anybody. In those early 2000s, before Chad and TJ arrived, you had Peter Warwick, which was a Peter Warwick minus compared to what he was in college.
Corey Dillon.
Corey Dillon, but Corey Dillon refused to play for a couple of those games. He refused to play in Bruce Coslin's last game. He was hurt for half of LeBeau's season because he just didn't want to play it for him. So you don't have anybody to talk about then. It's like, yeah, these teams are terrible. You have all pro caliber receivers. You have a good young running back. You have no offensive line to speak of, but you got to make something out of that. Nick, what are you thinking?
I mean, I think it comes straight back to Zach Taylor. I mean, Mike, I think you hit the nail on the head, and I don't really want to beat a dead horse too much, but I mean, Joe Burrow is really that good, apparently.
What?
He is the GOAT. Joe Burrow is the GOAT. Imagine if you had a good coach with him, like a Bill Belichick, or heck, I'll say it, but I don't like I'm saying it, but Mike Tomlin.
Somebody take
Think about
one away. Just kidding.
I mean,
true.
It's a halfway decent coach.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, heck, I'll even take the darn Browns coach, for God's sake. He just can't find talent that wants to play.
Now,
Or
I'm
stay out of jail.
Controversial to you before you continue. I'd take Marvin Lewis.
I would take Marvin Lewis.
Some of those Marvin teams.
Can I tell you, I was on a flight to Utah to see my nephew play some golf, and I look up and I see Marvin and gave him a little fist bump, and he was on my flight, happened to be 2 end back, but kept seeing him smile. I know deep down he was like, I told you guys I was not that bad. You could just see the smirk on his face. Gave him a little hooday. He knew I knew.
Yep. Would you imagine, and Nick and I have talked about this, I'll give Nick back the mic in a minute. I'm being a mic hog.
Yeah, you are.
If you put Burrow in the 11 to 15 Bengals, 3 to 4 Super Bowls, like easily.
That defense was. We don't talk enough about how physical and how psycho that defense was. But man, we had some crazy guys on that defense.
Played perfect. Pac-Man Jones. I mean, come on. Like, how do you get a better defense?
AJ Hawk.
We had Pecco.
I mean, that's.
We could talk about shoulda, coulda, wouldas all day long.
Go ahead, Nick. I'll shut up for a while.
But I mean, Mike, you were really bringing the nail home when you hit it on the head. Joe Burrow really is that good, masking how bad Zach Taylor's play calling is. Not only that, I mean, I've said it several times last year with Pollock being the offensive line coach. I'm going to have to eat my words. I don't think it was him. I mean, there's a common denominator in all of these years that Joe Burrow has played. And it's all the coaching staff has kind of moved around a little bit, except for Zach Taylor. I mean, that's the common denominator. At this point, I'm surprised he even has a job. I mean, any other organization, he is fired.
That's what I was going to ask you. If Zach Taylor were a free agent, on who's lining up to hire him?
Nobody.
Zero.
No.
I mean, I see it.
Exactly. Lou got scooped up right away. And the Colts are 3-1 with an aggressive defense. Would you guys not agree? On paper, this is probably Burrow's best offensive line, which is, I mean, I know it's still struggling, but on paper, like we started the season saying, okay, I like this offensive line versus 2021's offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
Why? You're telling me these guys all of a sudden stopped knowing how to be physical, stopped knowing how to block, stopped knowing how to complete their assignment? I watched the terrible play. We've all seen it when it was 3 guys from Denver versus our offensive line. The tackles completely missed. But if you remember, that play clock was going down.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to even guess that. They could have just moved off the clock, not off the snap. Our offense is so predictable that it even comes down to the play clock. They know they can get, and the NFL is so crazy fast and athletic, they can get off the ball faster than our offensive linemen can get out of the snap because they know when we're going to snap the dang ball. Like, these are the little things that, like, both of you are hitting on the head with Zach. It's easy to point the finger at Zach, but how are you not adapting to these things, watching the film and going, ooh, we should probably snap the ball with 10 seconds left on the clock, not running plays in and out and trying to get that right fit. Let's go at these guys.
I mean, you hit a huge nail there for me. And it's the one thing that I've really noticed over the past several years is that it always seems like Burrow's having the play clock go down to 0 and calling awful timeouts when we don't need to. We're wasting timeouts because we're waiting on all these plays to come in instead of just having the drive ready to go. Hey guys, on this drive, 1st and 10, we're running this play. Our first play is this. All right? We get a few yards, we're going to run this play. If we don't get any yards, we're going to run this play. So on and so forth. Like, that's literally what good teams do. I mean, you do it in high school. Like, I'm not even joking. We did it in high school.
Yep.
We had sequences that we ran where we weren't running plays in and out every single time unless coach needed to change it up for some reason, like he saw something. I mean, and that was, I mean,
Don't date
that was
yourself.
high school.
Don't date yourself, Nick.
That was high school. That was almost
If you see
20
how much
years
gray
ago.
is in the beard, if you see how much gray is in the beard, that should tell you how long it's been.
That's what 3 kids will do for you. That's why Mike doesn't have any gray.
I was going to say 10-year high school reunion coming up every year, right? For the last 20 years.
But there's 3 different groups you can look at here of who's to blame. People are really critical of Jake Browning. Oh, Jake's not what he used to be. Jake Browning was never meant to be Joe Burrow. He's not. So I don't really want to blame him for hardly anything. He's getting killed out there. Could he make some better decisions? Yeah, probably. But he only had those, 7 starts in 23, and that's been his whole career, basically, and a little bit with Minnesota. So I'm giving him some slack. I don't think it's his fault. The bad play is not his fault. And, Zach Taylor, we've crushed him right now. Like, I agree. Zach Taylor needs to – if we get beat by 40 points, which I'm predicting close to that, he needs to be fired. Like, there's no other excuse. He can't control the team, especially if you have more penalties and first downs. But the guy that I really want to see lose his job at the end of the season if this doesn't go well is Duke Tobin. You brought in this team. You played games with T and Jamar, and, you could have got them for a lot cheaper. You let Jesse Bates walk, which is one of the worst decisions in franchise history at this point. And you didn't bring in guys who made this defense better. In your draft picks, the only year I can remember in the last decade, or I guess you could say 2 years, that we had good draft picks was 2020 when you were 1st overall and 2021 when you were 5th overall. Otherwise, his draft picks have been crap. I mean, Shamar Stewart, jury's still out. We don't know yet. Miles Murphy is a bust. If anybody disagrees, feel free to chime in, but Miles Murphy is a bust. Amarius Dim, he could maybe get better, but, I mean, some of those penalties, you didn't line up on the line. That's grade school. Like, that's the basic thing. You have to be on the line. So, I mean, I think Duke, it may be a package deal. Duke and Zach both need to go.
I mean, I think that you do take out the front office and you take out the head coach and just bring in new personnel. Bring in their team.
Yep.
This is we're close, and that is the common sense answer. But if you look at Zach Taylor, he signed through next year. Yep. The Browns don't give away free money.
Not usually.
We're going to scream this next year as well. With Duke, you don't think Duke wanted to get these deals done a long time ago? Duke's hands are tied. Duke when he cooks and he's allowed to do what he does, you don't think he would have brought in Risner months ago to see if he was the right guy in our offense? This is a front office issue. And so we've got to start holding up above more accountable. I know we love the Bengals. I know we love this team. But until this place gets embarrassed and the stadium, they play in front of an empty stadium and people don't buy the merchandise, people don't buy the beer and the hot dogs, and people back off this stuff, which I know is complete anti-behavior as a fan. But the only way to get change is to affect the front office. And sadly, the only way you affect the front office is in their pocketbook. Yes, Nick's making the money sign. I mean, that's sadly the truth. That's the disgusting piece, because all 3 of us could fix this tomorrow. But I guarantee you, if we went in there, our hands would be tied. And we would be going to social media and Twitter and letting everybody know on high what's really going on behind there. I think it would scare us to death if we spent a week with the real front office, the Blackburns, the Browns. I think we'd be scared going, this is a multi-billion-dollar NFL franchise.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, when you're bringing in your Ring of Honor guys and you're asking them to pay for their own hotels and flights,
Perfect example.
I mean, how badly do you run a business when you got to ask the people that you're requesting to show up to honor to pay for their own crap? I'll pay for it out of my own pocket if I have to. Like, if I'm asking you to be there, I pay for you. If you're not already going to be there, I'm paying for you.
I heard Mo Egger tell a really funny story today. He said that they were asked by their bosses 1,000 years ago. They had a group of them. They're like, "Hey, we're going to take you to what's the great steakhouse in Cincinnati?"
Ruby's.
Thank you, Jeff Ruby. And they're like, "Hey, we're going to go to Ruby's." And they're like, "Jeff Ruby's." And they're like, "Awesome." They all go, and then they split up the bill, and everyone was responsible for their own bill. That is the Cincinnati Bengals in a nutshell organization. And that's why we've been saying and starting to scream this from two. There's two teams. I believe the locker room is full of guys that want to work hard, that love the city of Cincinnati, appreciate the fans, get what our community is about. And then there's the Brown and the Blackburns that are on a completely different planet. Yes, they've upgraded the locker room. Yes, there's more banter and stuff around the stadium. These are forced responsibilities to be able to pay for Joe Burrow, because if they didn't pay for Burrow, the city would we won't say what they would do to the stadium, but you can imagine.
Yep. I mean, it'd be
It
bad.
would do what Riverfront happened.
Well,
Rest in peace.
I mean, Joe Burrow, we feel like he's still a young man. I guess he is, but not in football years. He's about to turn 30 next season. That's scary to think about. He's missed or at least majority of 3 of his first 6 seasons. That's very worrisome. Neither if it's the front office, if it's Duke, whoever it ends up being that's causing we're not getting the personnel that we want in here, that's got to change, or else, this franchise is going to go back into another dark decade. Because if you have all these great players under contract, but if we don't start winning, do you think Jamar's going to want to stay here? Think T's going to want to stay here? Hendrickson, you might as well go ahead and trade him if you're not going to be competitive this year. So
we all know where this season's going.
Yeah.
This isn't going to – a miracle's not happening on Sunday. So, yeah, thank you for bringing up the Trey. I love Trey. But
I'm sorry. Honest. You got me. A miracle's not happening.
I'm sorry. I want to hope. I didn't even get mad on Monday night because I knew you could just we've seen this episode. But with Trey, and I know our front office won't do it because they're not progressive enough and this is not how they move. But would you not be willing to call San Francisco as they're killing the Rams tonight and say, you're a defensive end away from representing the NFC. Mm-hmm. What can we get? What's appropriate for Trey? And just make the move now and rip the Band-Aid off. We're not going to re-sign him next year. We're going to franchise tag him. We're going to be back into the same song and dance. And it's not Duke's fault. This is the Blackburns and the Browns. Just my opinion on that, because you don't think Duke would be like, just pay the guy. Pay the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I unfortunately, one of our other guests that we have who cannot really come on anymore, I'd be curious to know, because he's actually talked to Duke several times, but now he works directly for the Jets, so he can't go into stuff anymore. But, yeah, I don't know. And Trey, get rid of him for whatever you can get that's good. I mean, somebody's going to be desperate. 49ers are a good group to go after. There's going to be other teams close to the trade deadline. You might be able to sneak out a late first-round, early second-round pick if a team thinks they're one player away. Like you said, San Francisco could be one player away, maybe a second-round pick from them. Take it, because if you franchise tag him, he is not going to be a happy guy. We're going to have to deal with another miserable offseason, and it's going to be another distraction, and I don't want to deal with that. You already have enough problems going into next season. Let's not add another one.
I'm just saying that if the Bengals tank the rest of this year, you're going to have a whole bunch of people who are mad. And if people don't show up to games and they can't pay for Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins because nobody shows up, either the team leaves Cincinnati or they have to make a change.
But how long is the lease signed through now? That's what I'm trying to.
I think it's 10 years.
It's 10 years? Yeah, so basically, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And I mean, you never wish ill of a person, but when Mike Brown passes away, I don't know what the kids are thinking. They may want
Might be more difficult than Mikey B, because I think you hear Whitworth's stories of his conversations with Mike Brown. He almost sounds confused. Like, well, yeah, I thought the deal was done. Like I said, get signed, and then you hear
Yeah.
the Blackburns. We don't sign offensive linemen in their 30s. As he continues on to win a Super Bowl and has a Hall of Fame career.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You think that Cincinnati would have learned from Frank Robinson that you don't give up on guys in their 30s? But then they double down in other ways. So you let Whitworth leave, but then you keep Carlos Dunlap and Gino years past when they were worth anything. And I mean, I love Gino, great guy. Carlos was good on those teams we were talking about. But it's like you don't keep a position that holds its value. Offensive tackles hold their value almost forever until they just fall off a cliff at like, mid 30s to 40. But if you have a really good offensive tackle, they can be good a really long time.
And by the way, you can timestamp this since we will have a top 10 pick. I am all in on drafting a left tackle, not because I hate Orlando Brown. I still think he's got a little bit left in the tank, but not in this scheme. But left tackles are becoming more and more rare. And so really challenge your listeners as well as ours. I know Brian in Utah and Brant in Northern Kentucky, we've had this conversation of we are eyeing left tackles big time in college football right now, and in the free agency as well too. Who could we possibly go get?
Yeah, I mean, that's
I mean,
something.
anybody. I mean, at this point, anybody's better than what we got. I mean, you can't block the guy who's over top of you. That's what you're getting paid to do.
Talking about tackles, my question is, can we stop going after these massive human beings that are getting burned by small defensive ends?
I was going to say, if you look at the makeup of these defensive ends, they have figured out an athletic defensive end will get paid and can get to the quarterback, and you can only maybe need 8-10 sacks a year. That's a tough matchup, like you said, for a guy that's 6'6", 360. That is a tough matchup. I mean, look at Jared Verse. Jared Verse is barely 6'1". If he's 6'1", I'm 6'5". Like, that guy is not 6'1", but he is fast, mean, and can bend and get to the quarterback. So I agree. I think if that's our problem is we're scared about Myles Garrett, J.J. Watt getting us in the division, we've got to, just like the offense needs to adapt, we need to adapt to our personnel.
We do, absolutely. Nick, you're thinking about something. Go ahead.
I'm just thinking all the way back to the 90s and into the 2000s and 2010s and into the 2020s. There's one thing that has always remained constant. The Bengals don't adapt. And as long as people keep showing up, they will not adapt. As people keep on, if people keep on buying the merchandise, they will not adapt. And when I say that, there has been a constant over the past 30 years. Over the past 30 years, who's been in operations? Who's been running things? The Brown family and Katie Blackburn. There's been no positive change except for the simple fact that they actually paid a few players. Whoop-de-doo. Right? We still haven't had any success with any number one draft picks except for Jamar and Joe. And really, can we even say that Joe is a success? He hasn't played 3 of the past 6 seasons. I mean, obviously he's that good of a quarterback because he makes that big of an impact. But how are we going to pay him if we can't even have a stadium full halfway through the season because he's hurt and nobody wants to watch Jake Browning get his butt tore in, right? I mean, it's terrible. I mean, he's getting trounced because he's nervous because the defense does exactly the play that he called. Because we run motion from the left to the right, and look, guess what? We're running the same play that we just ran 3 plays ago, and 7 plays ago, and 12 plays ago. I mean, you can't get up in the 20s because we don't have that many plays on offense.
No.
Because it's either a turnover or a punt. And it's like the offensive play calling, that falls on one person. One person only.
I know these are negative topics, and I hate because, again, we just started October. We thought hey, we'd be sitting here 3-1, excited for this matchup like we talked about. So Nick's on the right path, but how do we be realistic as fans and hold the team accountable, but also fix this?
We watch the TV. We don't show up to the games. And when a positive change happens, then we'll show up.
I mean, I kind of went on a rant last night during the Reds game about this. Like maybe I'm a bad fan now. Like maybe I just am, but because I kept seeing a bunch of Bengals fans most like, oh, I show up no matter if they're good, bad, indifferent. And I'm like, well, I did that for most of my childhood. I'd go to the games no matter how bad the team was and just hope they would get better. But I've grown. I'm not a little kid anymore. You can't just hope. And this is money. You're literally spending your hard-earned money to go watch an organization that's not even trying to win. I mean, the Vikings game, I thought it's a fluke. Everybody had that's just a crazy bad game. You'll never see that kind of game again. But then Monday night, they just looked terrible. It literally looked like the 90s or the early 2000s.
You know what was strange, though? That first drive, I mean, minus they got a field goal. We wish they would have got a touchdown. But that was a very efficient drive.
Yeah.
Line blocked well. No, Jake didn't get touched. We're using everybody. We're running the ball a little bit. Like, that was – why could we only do that on one drive and then 0 for 9 on third downs the rest of the entire game?
Doesn't make sense. It doesn't at all.
Because they're calling the same play over and over again and not changing anything. Casey, run right, run left, run up the middle.
Yeah, it's basically all they did. And it was not a fun way to look at it. Or go ball. Go ball, go ball, go ball, go ball.
I was about to say play action, go ball.
That's not a good strategy. So, I mean, yeah, watch the games at home. Don't go to the stadium. But people are going to go. That's the problem. People will still go. They're going to be like, oh, it's fine. We'll just go to these games. I mean, I'd like to go to the Miami game. Tickets get cheap enough. They're both bad teams. Be a good place to go in December. I'll go to that game and support Miami's economy in December. That'd be great. But we've seen this before. That's why I said it hurts me as a fan to say, but I've seen this so many times. I don't have hope that it's going to get better, right? Especially not this year. I don't think I think this is the year that Taylor's losing the locker room.
Well, I want to go back. I want to kind of harp on this one. Taylor says we got all the faith in the world in Jake Browning and the presser. What has you thinking that you should have all the faith in the world in Jake Browning? Where is the evidence to back that up?
I know you don't want to get political. Obviously, this is the Bengals, but I don't care. Any politician tells you the sky's not blue. You're like, I can see with my own eyes. Treat us like we're children. And it's disrespectful to the fan base to these interviews and are supposed to be like to have us give insight, to share about the team, to grow with it, not treat us like we're morons.
So who's he starting to sound a lot like? I mean, his interviews have not been very, glamorous or, insightful in years. I don't feel like he's starting to sound like Marvin near the end where, every press conference, he's like, sure. Yeah, whatever. Like he just doesn't care. That's what Zach's starting to sound like. Like it's just bad.
All right, let's talk about something else because we need to get a little bit more positive here.
One more positive, or one more just before, because I like Nick, but everyone obviously is clamoring for a new quarterback on there, and so,
who do we take?
Go ahead.
Who do we take?
Well, but does it matter? I mean, is that gonna change his game plan? Let's just even say the Falcons were like, we will eat all of Kirk Cousins' money, which they never will. But let's just say that they would. And Kirk comes in. What do we change on our offense? What's Zach Taylor going to change on the offense?
Nothing.
Kirk will die. His career will end at Paul Brown Stadium, Paycor, whatever it's called now.
Yeah. The first game.
Yeah.
Well, man, that's what Zach was messaging me and Nick the other night talking about. What about Jameis Winston? And I'm like, what? So he can get sacked? Like, it doesn't matter who you put back there. Because he thought, I guess, I was against Jameis Winston. I'm like, no, I think he'd be entertaining to watch. But he's going to die just like Jake is. Like, it doesn't really matter.
The thing that I appreciate about both of you and Bergsy as well, and obviously good luck to his family. Super excited to see the Talking Bengals family grow one more. Super excited for them. But the one thing that we thought, and this is the frustration, and you young whippersnappers, you don't understand this because all you know is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But these painful memories, and this is why it's so frustrating, because we thought we were past the sins of the past. We thought we were beyond that trauma that we all experienced in the 90s and the early 2000s. We thought we were past all of it because of Joseph Lee Burrow was big enough to mask it, to make the Browns and the Blackburns pay money, to do things to the stadium, to make changes, to improve, just like Nick was talking about. That's who was forcing their hand. And now that he's not there, we're seeing the Browns and Blackburns rear their ugly heads again.
Nope. And it's just bad. So one last negative thing. Sorry, this is just a vent session. We got to get it all
negative,
in.
Nancy. All right,
yeah, I am. I'm a negative person on this show.
I'm gonna need to buy you a wig.
And that probably look better than my current hairstyle. So yeah,
you don't have hair.
Exactly. It can't get worse than what it is right now. But anyways, I just thought about it as Mike was talking. My first favorite player was Carl Pickens. Left in a horrible way, and people despise him for it. And I'm like, no, he didn't want to go out that way. Corey Dillon the same way. He was my next favorite player after Carl Pickens was Corey Dillon. He left in a terrible way. I was never a huge Carson Palmer fan overall. I thought he was, a little bit of a spoiled guy, but he left in a similar way. So you're talking about three of your best players in your franchise history. I'd say top 50. All three of them would be top 50 players in the franchise history. Left in horrible ways. Chad kind of sputtered out at the end. Like all these guys who are very meaningful to your organization all just kind of sputter out and leave grumpy. That has to do something with the organization, in my opinion. You have that many players, because then the Reds have a lot of problems. I'm not saying that they're great, especially with their current ownership. But if you've noticed, their old players continuously want to still be a part of things. You don't hear about people leaving the Reds in a miserable way. But the Bengals, people just leave and they hate the organization. They'd rather not play here. And then they leave and the fans get mad. That tells you something, and the ownership is the common denominator.
We've all worked for companies where we know we're talented, we're trying, we care, we're doing our part, and they just treat us like we are absolutely a commodity. And for the Bengals brass, I'm sorry, but they have been for years. I remember Leon White. He was a family friend of ours, linebacker back in the late 80s, early 90s. I remember him telling the story about how you had to pay for towels in the locker room back in the day. Towels. That's T-shirts as well. They had these Bengals champion gray T-shirts and stuff. So we still have one in our family because that's the joke. Is this is we contributed to the Brown family. You've heard of us on TVs at the end of the season, to fans. Donate this stuff. You could make a big charity out of this. The Browns are penny, whatever it is. They're stepping over 20s to pick up dollars. And so you're right. I'm sorry, but it's crazy because then you see Chad, and he got treated so poorly at the end of Johnson at the end of his time in Cincinnati, and now he's crying nationally on one of the biggest podcasts in America because he just wants the Bengals to succeed. Like, that's how much these people love. They love like we do. These ex-players love the city of Cincinnati, the people, the community, the team, not the Browns and the Blackburns. And so it's sad that they're holding it up.
Exactly. All right, Nick, save us with positivity, whatever you got.
I was hoping you guys would have something.
Okay, I did. I mentioned it in the pre-show. if, and this is a big if the Bengals can somehow find a way to beat Detroit this weekend, they would have the longest winning streak against an opponent in franchise history at 8, because they are currently tied with the record at 7. They have actually beaten the Lions 8 out of the last 11 times they've played them. And the Lions haven't beat the Bengals since 1992.
So, are you saying that as long as Zach Taylor is not running the offense, we could beat the Lions?
You know what? Sure. Why not? We'll put that on. I don't bet it. I'll put $1 million Monopoly dollars that the Bengals will win this game.
I mean, realistically, let's just talk about the preview of the game, because we all know how negative this is going to go. Let's just get it out of the way. If you have the Bengals winning, let's just say if somehow they end up winning by any sum of points, you will win a lot of money. Because there is not a single person in this nation that thinks that the Bengals are going to win.
Any sane person. You need to put that in there. Any sane person.
And I, as a lifelong Bengals fan, and will defend the Bengals till the day I die, and probably the most positive person I know, cannot find a way to be positive about this game going in against the Lions. The Lions are what the Bengals used to be in the 2010s with a better quarterback. So we're literally playing the better version of ourselves with a better quarterback.
How do you not love the Fighting Dan Campbells? I'll give you something positive. David Montgomery, heard a great story. I did not know this. Obviously, I did know he was from Cincinnati, went to Mount Healthy, played at Iowa State. Did not know this, though. His sister is paralyzed from the neck down and has never been able to physically see his her brother play live. And she gets to see David play for the first time ever Sunday. And so I'm sure the Bengals, somebody is helping make this accommodations work. And so I applaud them and super excited. And I'm not a fantasy football guy, but maybe if you bet on FanDuel and want to bet, this guy's going to have 300 yards rushing, 10 touchdowns. He's going to set career records on Sunday with having his sister. This guy's going to be so motivated. So it might not be a positive for the Bengals, but for humanity, very cool story. Any of us that have siblings. So that's a cool one to watch for and to root for. The Lions are still easy to root for, even though we're going to hate it on Sunday. They'll be fun to cheer for and to see hopefully succeed the rest of the time, because I love the fact I love somebody like a Dan Campbell recognizing the brilliance of what that town is about, and that's what people see in Cincinnati. And he got over the Fords. He got through them, and here we go.
I mean, I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this, and it's going to sound kind of dark, but we know it's not the Browns and the Blackburns paying for anything.
Yeah.
Probably going to be Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase paying for that.
There's some good people in the front office. They might have had a budget they could make it happen. Not in the high front office, but there's got to be some good community relations people somewhere.
Yeah, their initials are JB or JC.
Not going to fully disagree with you on that one. But let's go ahead and get into our predictions here. And I'm going to give you guys the dream scenario first. If we are just 100% dreaming, the same thing that happened to my 6th grade basketball team, we were playing a really good team, they all get the flu. The entire Lions team gets the flu the morning of the game, and we're playing the 3rd-string scrubs. And we end up winning 17-15 or something like that. Just crazy, ridiculous game. Doesn't make any sense, but that'd be the most optimistic thing that could happen. I don't see, unless Jared Goff forgets how to play quarterback and throws like 10 interceptions like Trevor Lawrence did, I don't see the Bengals have much of a chance to win. But Nick, I'm going to let you go first because you're probably going to have the smallest, margin of defeat here.
I think realistically, the Bengals may have an offensive field goal. Maybe a defensive touchdown. Maybe. So they'll have 10. I'm going to estimate 10. I think that it may be 56-10.
Whew. Well, I thought you were positive.
No, and just hear me out. I think that Dan Campbell realizes that the Bengals can't cover a tight end, so they're just going to throw it to the tight end.
They have a good one.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They're just going to throw it to their tight end and just get a billion yards.
Right. So, Mike,
And
do you
we
have
can't
anything
stop the run.
Can't stop anything at this point. I mean,
Look, I was wrong on Jamar Stewart. I think we're seeing some upside in him. I wish he was playing Sunday to keep that going. Could have used him on Monday night as well. It looks like he hasn't practiced this week, so I don't think he'll probably be playing. And I also made a massive mistake at not taking the preseason serious enough. And Casey, you were joking about if they had their third stringers in. We've seen what happens with teams like Indy and Philly. And here they are, two of the better teams in football right now with their third strings. They did beat the heck out of us.
oh yeah.
And we thought, it's preseason. They were more physical. They were more athletic. They were more prepared. They were more disciplined. And that doesn't come down to their ability to play football. That is definitely coaching and preparation like we've been sadly having to discuss. So I appreciate the optimistic. So I will say 6 points, 38-6. I'm just taking the average of the last two games because we did have what did we have in 10 in Minnesota. So I'll take that. We're 6, but definitely take that. Detroit's going to cover. I think the Boos sadly will get. I love the stripe out game. I mean, gosh, guys, we are literally 2 years ago. We were striping it out and destroying Buffalo on national television. And now Josh Allen's the MVP. They're the favorite to win the Super Bowl. And we're probably going to be a top 5, top 10 pick. Like, what in the world? This stuff is terrible how fast it comes at you. So I'm sorry to joke about it, but beatdown's coming. I hope we're proven wrong.
So last night I gave my prediction in the group chat, and I've been trying to convince myself that I'm wrong. I've been trying all day, like, what angle can I see? Is there anything out there? But I'm going to stick with 42-10. And I've thought the whole time the touchdown is going to be a special teams touchdown. Somebody's going to break one of their million opportunities for kick return that's going to be there. They're going to break it for a touchdown, and that's going to be it. I mean, it's just bad. And the other bill of goods, just because I wanted to bring it up earlier, I forgot about it. Do y'all remember the Super Bowl season, obviously? And we were told, no, we don't go all in. We're going to be here for the long haul. How ticked off are you all? Because I know I'm ticked off that the Rams went all in, beat us, and they're back being a better team than we are. Like, it just infuriating. Absolutely infuriating.
It shows you. I remember Colin Cowherd said years ago, he said, tell me who your ownership is, your head coach, and your quarterback. Tell me who they are, and I know everything about your organization. And if you look at like the Rams, like you're talking about, Matt Stafford, Hall of Famer, Sean McVay, winner, the Rams organization willing to invest. You're right. They literally paid big money for free agents and missed on a lot of them and drafted so well in the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds. And now they've got first-round picks playing. I mean, it's a crazy combo. And that's the biggest thing is Joe Burrow. Think again, back. You want optimism? Think about how great Joe Burrow is. He got this franchise to the Super Bowl. We're 9-8 out of the gates just with Joe Burrow, even with a coach that won't coach anywhere else in the NFL and a front office and an ownership group that the rest of the league can't stand, including their own fan base. That's how great Joe Burrow is. So, Joe, I know you're listening. I know you tune into Talkin Bengals every week. I know you're sitting there rehabbing, getting fired up. You know what? We know for sure you're only going to be out for another 2 weeks. Maybe you'll surprise us and be ready when you're able to get off after, what is that? So that would be 4 weeks. Probably not, but we can hope. Well, I'm going to hope. I'm going to hope Joe Burrow comes back. How about that?
Yeah. That's the positivity. I mean, that brings in the closing thoughts, I think. I don't think we got anything else negative to bring up, and that's the best hope we're going to have.
Well, guys, thank you very much. I'm going to take the closing thoughts here. go first. Bergs, thank you very much. Bernsey sends his gratitude. Appreciate you showing up and being a part of the podcast tonight. I'm going to take Bernsey's job here for the next couple months because he's going to be on dad duty and husband duty. So you'll be seeing some social media posts, maybe from me, but definitely I'm not really good at that. But definitely follow us at Talkin_Bengals. Remember, there's no G. The only G is not here. So definitely follow us. Any social media sites that you can find. And if we're not there, please tell us because we probably need to be there.
He's not the best social media guy in the league for nothing, guys. I'm telling you what. Impressive.
I'm definitely the backup to the backup.
Calling on our practice squad. That's what we got. But Mike, what are your closing thoughts?
No, I appreciate you having me on. It's great to catch up with both of you. I can't believe it was over a year, summer last year that we connected, but this is why we do what we do. Look, as Bengals fans, I know it stinks right now. We know we could be so much better right now, and that's the frustration. We don't want to go backwards. We want to keep going forward. The city is so hungry. The fan base is so hungry. Even being at the Dodgers-Reds playoff game last night, every Reds fan that I saw, Dodgers didn't say a single word to the Reds fans. We're not their rival. It's San Diego, the Giants, the Yankees. They don't care about us. But every Reds fan would come up to you and fist bump. They'd give you kind of that bro hug. They'd give you the pat on the shoulder because all Cincinnati fans know. They know the pain. 1990 was a long time ago for those Cincinnati Reds. And so everyone knows, like, look, we're going to break through, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be worth it. It's not today, and that's the frustrating part. So enjoy in the meantime. Enjoy bonding together with your Bengal friends. This is why I was so excited to get on and talk to you guys. We had an off week ourselves personally with some of the other guys and what they had going on. But so to catch up with you guys, I laugh so hard. I get texts and messages from you guys during the season, during the off season. It's the best. And that is the bond that we have as Bengal fans. And I just appreciate the both of you. And obviously, Bernsey, to your family, good luck to you guys this week. And Houday, all day, boys.
And again, thanks, Mike, for coming on. It's always a pleasure. It's a great time. And that's actually one of the ideas I was telling Zach we got to make as a shirt is you can't hurt me. I'm a Bengals fan. Like,
it's brilliant.
Nothing you can throw at us that we're not going to have already been through and been miserable when it comes to sports at least. But no, it's still fun. We still get on here. We enjoy it. That's what we're doing this for. We started it, during some miserable years. That's when the podcast started. It was 16, 17, 18, not really always the best. So we've been here the whole time. We're going to continue to be here, continue to grow. To Bernsey, like Mike said, congrats on everything going on. We're here for you. Nick's going to do his best that he can do. Hopefully learn what technology is and how to turn on a computer. That'd be great.
Hey, I got this to work tonight, so leave me alone.
After 20 minutes of struggle busing. Anyways, I digress. But just have fun with the season. Don't take it too seriously. If the game gets miserable and you don't want to watch, just turn it off. Come back next week. Don't do anything crazy. It's still just football. But with that in mind, Houday, everybody.
Houday.
Houday.